What's up, guys? Simon Edwards here, aka Pumacom over on X. Here to record a drafters draft tonight. I figured I'd do something a little bit different. We've been doing underdog best ball for the most part, and tonight I was going to do a drafters draft and maybe walk through my thoughts with you guys so you can kind of get an idea of how I'm approaching these drafts, or maybe give you guys some ideas on how to approach it. I'm with Heat Seeker Sports. We are only on YouTube right now, YouTube and Twitter. So if you can subscribe to the YouTube page, that'd be great. And we can use all the subscribers we can get. And if you can like the video, that helps too. Helps us out in the algorithm. So tonight, yeah, like I said, I've been doing a lot of drafters drafts recently. They had a promo over the weekend where you got free drafts. If you drafted 20 drafts or something like that, they gave away free tickets into drafts. So I've been doing a lot of drafters over the weekend, and it's a little bit different than underdog. Obviously, the point scoring is different. They do a PPR point scoring over on drafters versus half point PPR, which is on underdog. But I feel like I've done enough drafts now so that I've started to get into a groove and figure out the players that I really like and that I want to have the most exposure to. So right now we're finding me at the 7 spot in this draft. 7's not too bad. I don't mind being in the middle in these drafts. I actually don't have a spot that I hate this year in the draft order, because I feel like you can get a decent guys at the end. You can get decent guys in the beginning here. Let's see. All right, so I'm looking at Kelsey, Adams, and St. Brown, and AJ Brown. I'm gonna go with AJ Brown here. Kelsey, I have a decent amount of exposure to already. Devontae Adams, I think he can fall to me in the second round if I wanted him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a guy that I was debating on taking there, but feels like a little too early to take him. But I want as much exposure to Amon-Ra as I can get. We're 7 away from me again. Haven't taken any Eckler this year. Haven't taken any Bijan. Haven't really been into those first-round running backs just because it feels like you can get really good running backs in the fifth round and beyond. The 5th through about the 9th round seems like you can get a lot of decent running backs that have that top 10 upside. So it really doesn't feel good to spend an early pick on running backs in the 1st or 2nd rounds, or even the 3rd to an extent. Like some 3rd round value, I typically am drafting wide receivers and quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds. Feels weird to say that with quarterbacks, but this is a weird drafting year because quarterbacks, all those elite quarterbacks are going in round 3 pretty much. And you got somewhat of a tier extending until about round 5. And that ends, I think, with Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. They go in 4 through 6. So it's coming up on me. I'm 2 picks away. Devontae Adams still on the board, as I was mentioning. I like Garrett Wilson a lot. I like Aaron Rodgers a lot this year. I think the Jets are good, and he just got taken. So I'm kind of debating on Smith or Waddle. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts here. Just get the Brown Hurts connection there. Normally, I wouldn't take a quarterback in the 2nd round, but like I said, I don't have a lot of AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts stacks, so I don't mind taking a bet on the Eagles there. So the next round, I'll probably be looking for a wide receiver. Probably looking for wide receivers in the next few rounds. The first running back that I'm really interested in beyond these first couple rounds is Dameon Pierce, and he's going at around pick 60, so you can get him in round 5. So I've been taking him a lot in round 4, round 5. I've been trying to get as much exposure to that guy as possible because I think he's going to be a top 5 running back this year, and he's going for super cheap. So definitely a guy that I've been targeting frequently and hoping to get as much exposure to as possible. I kind of went into this season hoping not to have way over exposure to anyone in particular, but the value is just too good on Dameon Pierce, and I'm just sold on him. All right, so coming up on me in about 6 picks, you can see how the board is shaping up. I'm the only one who's taken a quarterback so far, which is, I guess, not too unusual. 3rd round, this is where we'll start to see the Josh Allens and Patrick Mahomes go. There goes Patrick Mahomes. And Mark Andrews. It's kind of a weird tight end situation this year too. Mark Andrews is going in the 2nd, 3rd rounds again, like he did last year. Last year he underperformed, but when you're looking for elite tight ends, you don't have many options. But you do have a lot of really good tight ends, but you don't have the elite tight ends in the Kelsey tier that you think can really challenge Kelsey. But Kelsey's not getting any younger. This could be the year that he starts to slow down a bit, but we haven't really seen that yet. Let's see. So I'm looking at Deebo Samuel or DK Metcalf are the ones that I'm considering here. And I think I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel because I don't have a lot of Brock Purdy exposure, and I wouldn't mind taking Brock Purdy later on in this draft as my backup QB. He's looked pretty good in the preseason game that he played the other day. Brock Purdy just has like this energy to him, a confidence, and kind of a swag. And I don't think that last year's performance was a fluke. I think the dude's legit, and he's going overlooked this year, coming off that rotator cuff surgery or whatever he had. I think has people coming off of him a bit, but I could see Deebo Samuel coming alive this year. Last year, Purdy was favoring George Kittle, it seemed, mainly, but Deebo Samuel was also hurt for a lot of last year, so it doesn't surprise me that those two didn't really form a chemistry, but having the whole offseason together, or at least the offseason where Purdy's able to throw to him, could help that chemistry this year. All right, so now we're sitting here looking for Dameon Pierce. I got my eyes set on him. If we're coming up on the 4th round, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, 2 guys that just went. DeAndre Hopkins is at the top of the board pretty much for wide receivers right now. You got Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon, Drake London, all those sorts of guys. I don't hate Drake London. I don't hate Christian Watson this year. All right, I might go with Christian Watson here and hope that in 12 picks that Pierce will fall to me. Pierce's ADP is 60, and I just drafted at 42. So right now I'm looking at Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, and then I have A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, and Christian Watson. It's shaping up pretty good. I feel pretty good about those wide receivers at the start. And if I can get Dameon Pierce on top of that, I feel like I have a top 5 running back, so that'd be a good hero RB start. I can focus back on wide receivers for a couple rounds before I start looking for that second running back. Justin Fields. Yeah, and one thing that I've talked about in my stream so far this season with some of the DFS pros, they don't really pay too much attention to the same rules and stuff that typical best ball players do, the guys who are drafting all summer. They kind of treat it like a religion with roster construction and everything. But I've noticed with the DFS pros, they're mainly going for the best guys on the board, and to each their own. And you never know, which philosophy or which strategy is the right way to go, because it always changes. You never know how the season's going to play out. But I think some people take that stuff a little too seriously. The things that I think are important is getting some correlation in your lineups, paying attention to making sure you're drafting the guys with the highest upside and stuff. If you force too many stacks, you often can give up a decent amount of upside, which is something that I try to be conscious of. Sometimes your instinct, though, just kind of takes over, and you reach for those stacks and the correlation. All right, someone just took Brandon Ayuk. Hawkinson went before Ayuk. I like Hawkinson this year. I think he's going to be the second leading receiver in the Minnesota offense, and Minnesota's offense has shown itself to be pretty potent. All right, so Dameon Pierce has fallen to me at 55. Going to start looking at receivers now, and the receivers I got my eyes on are George Pickens and Jahan Dotson. I want to make sure that I'm leaving this draft with at least one of those guys, hopefully. I'm up in 9 picks. We're at 57 right now, so that would put 56 as my next pick, or 60. 66 is my next pick, and we got Pickens with an ADP of 61 and Dotson with an ADP of 65. So going to be a crapshoot. If either of those guys make it to me, it would be a value. So as a backup, like I'd be looking at Addison and Smith-Njigba. Those are 2 rookies this season, landed in good spots. Addison's with Minnesota, Smith-Njigba with Seattle. I think both those guys have a decent amount of upside, but I really want one of those second-year receivers. All right. Coming up on me in 2 picks. Dotson's still on the board. We just saw Pickens go. Let's see if he falls to me. The long wait. All right, good. So I got Dotson out of it. Shaping up really good now. Brown, Samuel, Watson, and Dotson as my wide receivers. I got Dameon Pierce as my running back, and I got Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. So now I'm going to see which wide receivers fall to me next. And if there's nothing there, I'm going to look for my second running back. As I said, like, this is more of a hero RB construction. Didn't necessarily plan it that way, but that's kind of how it's shaping up. All right, J.K. Dobbins, he just went. He's another guy that I've been keeping an eye on, trying to draft him when I can. I like his upside this year. He's came off that injury last year, and he didn't perform very well. But this year, he's a further year removed from that injury, his knee reconstruction. So I think he'll be in a lot better position to outperform this season, especially better position than he was last year. Smith-Njigba and Addison just went back to back. Mike Evans went before them. I don't have a whole ton of Evans. I don't really like his situation this year, but he is going cheap. All right, so I'm pretty much going to focus on running back for the next round. I don't have a whole lot of Goddard. I'm not really into Goddard, even though I have Hurts. But I might just draft him just to get some exposure. Goddard hasn't really impressed me. He hasn't really done anything since he's been in Philly. He's gotten a lot of hype. He's shown some flashes, but he hasn't put together one of those really good years just yet that makes it like worth drafting him in the top 10. I kind of like Kyle Pitts better, but I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go with Rachaad White here, just to give myself a decent number 2 running back. And I'm going to look at Pitts or Goddard in this next round if they fall to me. Next round is I'm 9 away. Pitts ADP is 81. Goddard's ADP is 77. So it's very unlikely that one of those guys is going to fall to me. And if not, like I'll set my sights on maybe Evan Ingram, because I want to get at least one of these guys that has the potential to be an elite tight end this season. That'll kind of help me round out my my starting lineup. Looking at Quentin Johnson, a lot of people are mixed reviews on Quentin Johnson. Had Draft Cheat on the show the other day. He wasn't a big fan of him, but I've heard some people who think that he's going to be a stud. But I don't know. I think the jury's out on Quentin Johnson this year. All right, Kyle Pitts is still on the board. I'm 3 away. Rashad Bateman just went. Not a fan of Bateman. The dude's always hurt. There goes Pitts. Got one pick until it's my turn. Looking at the running backs, I'm not really seeing running backs that I'm interested in. Well, not running backs that I'm interested in over drafting a potential elite tight end. I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram here. I could have waited on Freiermuth, which would have been another option. I would have preferred to have Freiermuth though if I had George Pickens, and that way I could go with a Pittsburgh stack and look at Kenny Pickett as my quarterback 2. But just didn't shake out that way. Ended up with Jahan Dotson. I don't mind taking Sam Howell as a quarterback 2. If Antonio Gibson falls to me in the next round, he is ADP of 98. We're on 95 right now. I doubt he'll fall to me. But if I get lucky and he falls to me, then that'll set us up for Sam Howell as our QB2, which will be interesting having Washington and Philadelphia as my stacks, with them being in the same division. Dalvin Cook just went off the board. Isaiah Pacheco. Interesting. The other day, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire started the game ahead of Pacheco in the preseason. I don't think that means too much, but like the Chiefs are kind of weird with their running backs sometimes, so that's something to take note of. Antonio Gibson just went. So now I'm going to be looking at probably a receiver. I do like Tony and I like Beckham. I like both those dudes at the value that they're going for. Both of them are wild cards, especially Tony. Like the dude might be have a screw loose or something, but he is definitely a receiver. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Tony here. Gives me some upside. Gives me another receiver. I've got 5 now. I think I can shift my focus back to running backs now and try to grab a couple more decent running backs. Let's see. Running backs I would be considering right here are Samaje Perine, Zach Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby. I like all those guys. And Kenneth Gainwell, I like him too, and I especially like him with that Hurts combo. But you can get Gainwell a couple rounds from now, so I'm not going to be targeting him just yet. Let's look at how my correlations are shaping up. Yeah, Brock Purdy, I think, is my main guy that I'd be looking for. But fortunately, I have Jahan Dotson. So if something weird happens with Purdy, at least I have Sam Howell as a backup. Not worried about stacking too many receivers with these guys. All right, let's see. All right, Beckham's still on the board. McKinnon and Bigsby. I think I'm going to go with Bigsby here. I've already got some exposure to Jacksonville in this lineup, so gives me somewhat of a correlation there. My next one, I might grab Elijah Mitchell just to go with Debo there. Oh, wait, no, Kenny Gainwell. He's who I'm going for next. He's coming up on his ADP. We're at 117. I'm up in 10 picks, and Gainwell's ADP is 130. So I got to make sure that I'm grabbing him if he's still available, because he won't make it to me the round after that. If I'm looking down this available players right now at the top of my queue, Jacoby Myers, I like him. I like Kirk Cousins if you have enough Vikings before this point. I'm not a fan of Tyler Boyd. Beckham I like. Nico Collins, I don't have any of him. Schultz, I have some of him, but not overly reaching on him. Darnell Mooney, I do like. A lot of guys I like here. Aaron Rodgers, I like. I like Marvin Mims. There's a lot of guys I like in this area. Usually, I hate what's available in this early double-digit rounds. All right, we're at 121. I'm up in 6 picks. Kenny Gainwell is still out there. I do have a decent amount of Rodgers exposure. I think he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder this year. And I think he's going to be looking to impress with his new team. And I think he's back in the MVP mindset. So I think it's going to be an interesting year for Aaron Rodgers when everybody's writing him off. I think he does his best work when everybody's writing him off. All right, we're 3 picks away. God, Beckham is still on the board, so I might. No, there he goes. Okay, I was gonna say, like, if he was still around, I'd be taking him on this next one, even though I was planning on grabbing Gainwell. All right, we're 1 pick away. He's still there. We're gonna grab him. That adds to our Eagles correlation. We got Jalen Hurts, Kenny Gainwell, and A.J. Brown right now. A lot of confusion in the Eagles' backfield as usual. Some people think that Rashad Penny's going to get cut. Some people think that Kenny Gainwell is going to be the starter. And some people think that DeAndre Swift is not going to do that great. So, yeah, it's a lot of mixed feelings on the Philadelphia backfield, and those are the good ones to take advantage of. I usually try to draft the last guy in a backfield like that, in this case, Kenny Gainwell, but I do want to have some Swift exposure. I have a little bit of Penny exposure, but like it scares me that people are talking about him getting cut. They didn't sign him for a big contract, so he's expendable, like from a contract standpoint. But at the same time, if you got Penny that cheap, why would you cut him? We're 2 picks away from our next pick. I think I'm going to grab Elijah Mitchell, maybe, because I don't. Elijah Mitchell and Devin A-Chain are both. Adam Thielen. I kind of like Adam Thielen this year. He's at 160 ADP though, so I don't need to reach on him. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Mitchell there. Begrudgingly, I kind of wanted to take A-Chain there, but we don't know if Jonathan Taylor is going to end up in Miami. If that happened, I don't know what that would do to A-Chain's value. Like with Elijah Mitchell and Mostert still there, I would imagine one of those dudes would get traded to Indy, or maybe A-Chain. If A-Chain got traded to Indy, that might be almost I won't say a best case scenario for him, but like that would be a interesting situation for him. Right now, he's just buried in Miami. But if they don't trade for Taylor, I think A-Chain's in a good spot because either Wilson or Mostert will likely get hurt, and it'll give A-Chain the opportunity that he needs to kind of show what he's got. And according to people who are high on college players and who've kind of looked at him and his athletic ability and his analytics are pretty high on him. A lot of sharp people I hear talking him up. I don't know much about him, but I kind of listen to what those people say. So he would find himself in a really good situation. Tajay Spears, he's another of these rookie running backs. He looks really good in the preseason. He was running hard in stacked boxes. I think Warren Sharp put out some sort of a stack. He was getting the most yards after contact out of any NFL running back, and he was facing the most stacked boxes on top of it. So really impressive there. Looks like a mini Derrick Henry. All right, we're coming up in 5 picks. And see where I'm at right now. I've got 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 1 quarterback, and 1 tight end. I went heavy with wide receivers at the top, which is why I've been focusing on running back for these past few rounds. But I think I'm going to shift gears back into looking at wide receivers again. Right now, I'm kind of looking at Adam Thielen. I like him this year. I haven't liked Adam Thielen in a long time, but I do like him this year. Let's see the quarterback situation. 30 is 163 ADP, so I don't necessarily need him right now, but I'll put him in my queue. You know what? I'm going to grab Tajay here. completely shift off of what I was just talking about, but now I have 6 running backs. I don't need to worry about running back anymore. But I think I can get Purdy on my next turn, and if not, I'll grab Thielen. So I got one of those 2. Should be obtainable in this next round. Tight end, Luke Musgrave, Juwan Johnson. I like both those guys. I like Ferguson as my number 2 tight end. Okonkwo, like I love him. He's got a ton of upside. We saw his looked pretty explosive last year. Every time he touched the ball, they were throwing him bombs. Dude was even tearing it up with Malik Willis. Pretty impressive. Juwan Johnson just went off the board. Let's see. All right, Brock Purdy. I'm going to draft him because Thielen got taken. So I got my backup quarterback. Got Purdy with Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. And then I got Jalen Hurts with Kenny Gainwell and A.J. Brown. I'm going to stick with those and focus on wide receiver now. So wide receiver for the next few rounds here. And at the top, I'm looking at DJ Chark. He's got an ADP of 162. We're at 167 right now. He's got an injury concern, but I believe he's going to be playing week 1. He's been sidelined with a hamstring injury. So you never like to see hamstring injuries with your receivers leading into the season, but I don't mind taking the discount on DJ Chark now that I have depth with my wide receivers. Also got Curtis Samuel we can look at. Mecole Hardman. Raheed Shaheed is still around. Obviously, he is a 178 ADP. You know what? He might be, he's going to be, I think, my next pick because I think he has the most upside out of all these guys. He was really impressive last year. He was scoring about, double-digit fantasy points the last 5 games of the season last year. Those are underdog points. Even more if it's PPR. And he was just really, really impressive. He came out of nowhere, too, it seemed. Chark is still on the board. He's going to be hard to pass up at that value. But if I don't pick Rashid, then my next pick is 186, and I won't get him. So I'm just going to, if he falls here, yep, he does. So I'm going to take Shaheed. That gives me 6 wide receivers, all of which, have pretty good upside. We'll see if Chark falls another round. If he does, that'd be a tremendous value. Nope, there he goes. Curtis Samuel is still around. We got, let's see, Wilson on Arizona. He's a rookie. I don't know a whole lot of him. Haven't heard too much about him. We got Josh Downs. So we're really thin at wide receiver here. Oh, Robert Woods, I kind of like. Last year he was coming off of I believe he was coming off of his injury last year. So he didn't really do anything too impressive last year. But, people might be thinking he's washed. He might be washed, but he might have just been underperforming because he was recovering from a major knee injury. Let's see. Yeah, Downs, I think, is the guy. We got Devontae Parker. I got no interest in him. Downs is looking like the starting slot receiver for Indianapolis. We also got Allen Robinson on Pittsburgh. He's not bad. John Mechie. Just reading Mechie's blurb here. All right, it's my turn. I got to try to figure out which direction I want to go here. I'm going to go with Josh Palmer here. Josh Palmer, pretty good value. Like if Quentin Johnson is as much of a crapshoot as people seem to think he is, then Josh Palmer could be a really good value in these rounds. Also looking at Josh Downs right now and Allen Robinson. Those are the guys in my queue. Hunter Renfroe is finding his way down into the 17th round here. This is unusual for Renfroe, but last year he didn't really do anything impressive. It seems like McDaniel's not into him. And Derek Carr has left the building, so both bad news for Hunter Renfroe. Also looking at tight ends right now. I need a second tight end. My current tight end is Evan Ingram. He's got a week 9 bye. So I will be looking at maybe Trey McBride, Taysom Hill. I might grab Taysom Hill just as a wild card, and then take Cade Otton. I don't really see anything that would help me correlation wise with tight ends this late. Seeing as how I have Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts as my quarterbacks. So yeah, I'm gonna go with McBride when it comes back to me. He was getting a lot of hype last year. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go with Taysom Hill when it comes back to me. McBride was getting some hype last year. He's on Arizona's offense though, so that's trouble. All right, I'm gonna go with Taysom. And then I got to get a third tight end, because Taysom's not going to be a reliable source of points in Evan Ingram's bye week. He's very sporadic. He's perfect for spike weeks, but you don't want to have him be relying on him for points. So I'll look at Cade Otton or probably Cade Otton or Noah Fant. And we are 7 picks away. We are on, what round are we on? We're on round 18 right now. So we're getting to the end of this. It's 20 rounds with drafters versus 18 for underdog. So you're dealing with less rounds. I do notice that there's a lot of good picks at the end of these drafts. We still got Downs available here in the 18th round. That's a starting slot receiver. We still got Allen Robinson, Robert Woods. All these guys I think could surprise this year. Chase Claypool, And then you got a lot of tight ends. You got like Tyquan Thornton. Another receiver. He was getting a lot of hype last year. Kind of underperformed. But they had a bad offensive coordinator. Khalil Shakir is still there. I like him. Deion Jackson, by the way, if Taylor gets traded, he's going to be, I think, the starting running back in Indy, and he's like undrafted in a lot of these. So you got to make sure to get some exposure to him. All right. So for me, it looks like I'm going to be drafting Otton here. I got 2 more picks. If I didn't have a comfortable amount of running backs right now, I'd be looking at Deion Jackson. But I feel pretty good about my running backs. I'm gonna boost up my wide receivers a little bit. Downs just went off the board. I think I prefer Woods over Robinson. Robinson's just got too much target competition versus Woods. I think he's pretty much Woods and Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz over in that Houston offense. It's competing for targets. I'd rather be competing with Schultz and Nico than George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, which is what Robinson is doing in that Pittsburgh offense. We're 7 picks away. Robert Woods is a 201 ADP, and we were at 217 right now, so I don't even know if he's going to make it to me. You're bad when you're sweating Robert Woods making it to you in the 19th round of a draft. We also got John Mechie coming off of cancer. Took him out last year. Pretty cool recovery story there. Tyquan Thornton, as we mentioned earlier. Marvin Jones is back with Detroit. All right, getting down to the end of this draft. Just a reminder to subscribe to this YouTube page. Please give a like on the video. Need all the engagement we can get to start to build an audience. And if you are in the DFS community and you are looking for a voice, make sure to follow us on Twitter at HeatSeeker Sports and send us a DM. We're going to be looking for good players to provide content for us once we start creating getting the website launched next year. Let's see. So my turn. I'm going to go with Shakir here. Yeah, we're going to be creating all sorts of DFS content, betting content, best ball content. So we're going to be looking for contributors very soon. But we wanted to get the site launched or the social media launched this year just to give a little brand exposure heading into the NFL season. NFL is something that I'm comfortable with doing content for, especially best ball and showdown. So our YouTube site is going to have a bunch of showdown content on it. So if you're a fan of showdown, I think you'll like what we have for content. We're going to do stuff a little bit differently. Look at different angles of games and stuff. We're not going to just do the typical run through of the obvious way that the game script might play out. So we're going to try to think a little bit outside the box on our game script shows. Yeah, and you can follow me at Pumacom too. You can direct message me. You can direct message HeatSeeker Sports on X, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. And yeah, just reach out to us anytime. Comment on the comment section. If you have any way that you would have approached this draft differently, if you think that I screwed up and picked guys that I shouldn't have picked, let me know about it. I can always use the feedback. I'm 3 picks away from my last pick. Looking at Tyquan Thornton. I've got 8 wide receivers. Let me see if Dion is still around. Deion Jackson is still around. I believe like people aren't drafting him. So I'm just going to take him. Get 7 running backs. Why not? All right. So here's my final lineup here. You can see it on the screen. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy are my quarterbacks. Damian Pierce, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby, Kenneth Gainwell, Elijah Mitchell, Tajay Spears, and Deion Jackson are my running backs. A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson, Kadarius Toney, Rashid Shaheed, Joshua Palmer and Khalil Shakir are my wide receivers, and my tight ends are Evan Engram, Taysom Hill, and Cade Otton. So probably more running backs than I normally would draft. I probably would have rather taken one more wide receiver in there somewhere. I probably screwed up somewhere in this draft where I should have taken a wide receiver instead of a running back, but I don't mind switching it up every once in a while and taking it in a different direction. So I kind of like this. I kind of like this lineup. I feel like all my positions are pretty solid, and I don't really have too much weakness other than maybe depth in the wide receiver position. But I did take a lot of wide receivers early, so maybe that's overthinking it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section, and keep an eye out for more videos. We're doing a lot of shorts now too, so make sure to check those out and give us a subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, X at Heatseeker Sports, at Pumacom, and I'll see you next time.